Hi there, I'm Kim from sunny Arizona.
And I'm Kara from vibrant Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome to our channel, the Kara and Kim Live podcast.
We're both seasoned realtors with a passion for all things real estate. From market trends to insider tips, we're here to guide you through the journey of buying and selling homes.
But that's not all. We'll also take you on a journey getting to know various small business owners.
Whether you're a first-time home buyer, need more space for your growing family, or just curious about the market in Phoenix, Arizona,
or a seasoned investor, or you're looking for insights about the metro Atlanta area, we've got you covered.
Our podcast is designed to be informative, engaging, and a bit fun too.
We love interacting with our listeners, so don't hesitate to reach out with your questions or topics that you'd like us to explore.
Subscribe to our channel and join us on this exciting journey. New episodes will be coming your way regularly, filled with fresh content and expert advice.
So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's do a deep dive into the world of real estate together. Welcome to the Kara and Kim podcast.
Hi, it's Kim with Hunt Real Estate. I wanted to introduce you to Gina Cole. Gina, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. My name is Gina Cole. I'm with Navi Title. I'm branch manager, escrow officer. I've been in the business about 20 years, so I've seen a lot. We've been through a lot. We facilitate the transactions. There's usually a title company involved in most transactions, or should be. Our role to start is, we are accepted on the contract and become the company to help facilitate the closing.
Great. So I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Let's start with, what is the role of a title professional in a real estate transaction?
Okay. Most people, when we call them, they say, title company, well, what do you do?
Why do we need one of those?
Yeah. We know the realtor, we know the lender, but what's your job? We pretty much facilitate the whole transaction. There's usually escrow and title. Title is the policies that are going to be issued to the buyer through a transaction. Now, what we do is with those policies is we are making sure that everything on title is clean and clear, so that when you do buy that property, you're not going to have anything afterwards that could come up that could prohibit you from selling the property or even owning the property. So, and then we do issue insurance. Title companies are insurance companies. So we do issue those policies to you. The easiest way I kind of explain title is, when you go to buy a car, when you go to buy a used car, you really don't know anything about it. You hope that they're telling you the truth. You hope that, what you pay for it is what it's worth. So a title company really is somebody who comes in and does all of the research on that. So they have done everything from A to Z research on a property, so that we can actually come to you and say, hey, listen, we know it's clean, we know it's clear, we know you're getting what you've paid for based on the terms, and we're going to also issue you a policy on top of that to go ahead and ensure that everything was done correctly.
So what are the key steps involved in clearing a title?
Well, we do a title search. The title department will run a search. That search is not only on the property, but it's also on the owners of the property. Here in Arizona, judgments, IRS tax liens, HOA liens, anything that you've had in court that you could owe money to for restitution, anything like that, everything attaches to a property. Most people don't know that. So we not only have to make sure that title is clear as far as any liens from prior owners, but we also have to make sure that those people who you are buying it from do not have any active judgments, liens, anything outstanding, because once we close, they could actually have interest in that property. So the first step is doing a search to make sure that we cover anything and everything that could possibly come up to prohibit you from having clear title at a later date. Once that's done, then we usually will work with the sellers. Anything on the requirement title side is normally a seller requirement. The only thing that a buyer would need to look at is bankruptcy. If you've gone through bankruptcy, if you have still in the process of bankruptcy, that's something that could prohibit you from purchasing a property. Anything other than that is a seller. We pretty much work with the seller, go through each item, make sure that we can either get a payoff or they can supply something to us to clear the title. Once we do have clear title, then we're in a position to close and issue that policy to you, stating that you're going to be able to have this property and not have any issues later.
What's the time frame typically from beginning to end for an escrow and to get clear title?
It depends. I have people who need to close in 24 hours. My number one thing is, as long as title's clear, we can do it. Sometimes a search, Maricopa County, a search is quick, 24 hours. Sometimes the out of counties might take 24, 72 hours for title. If it's a mortgage on the property, if it's back taxes, something like that, we're in a position to close usually within a few days. Obviously, if you look at a title report and you look at the requirement section and you see, 10, 15 requirements, you see a lot of items on there, just depending on what they are and how quickly we can obtain the information. It really is working with the seller. If the seller is willing to work with us, we can clear it quickly. If we have a seller who's maybe not being as responsive or didn't realize these things were going to come up on their title, sometimes we don't get in a position to close at all. So I think that really once the title report comes out, it's super important to look at that, because that's going to tell you also a time frame for us and for you on how quickly we can get things cleared up and get you in a position to buy.
Great. Is there a big difference between a single family home and a manufactured home?
Biggest difference, obviously, a manufactured home until it's affixed to the property. So if you go and you find a piece of land and a manufactured home, the manufactured home, if it's not affixed, it technically is still a DMV title. So it's technically not real estate. So if you do get into a position like that, you have to go through the DMV to have it affixed. Once it's affixed to the property, then I can say it's pretty much equivalent to a single family because you own the land and the improvements on top of it.
Okay, great. Do you have any other tips for home buyers with the escrow process and title and all of that?
I think it's important for the buyers to look at the companies. When the transaction's done, the only person that is still left on the hook is the buyer. So to know that you're at a company that's going to, that's reputable, but also that's been around and is going to be around. Because if there is an issue later on and your policy is, that company has been gone for 10 years, it's hard to try to find, that company or who acquired it. So I say pay attention at the beginning of who your title company is. Make sure that their underwriter is somebody that, has been around and you believe is going to be around. Second thing I think most important is when you do, go into contract, once you do get the title report, to pay attention to the exceptions. The exceptions in the title report is the only thing that we are not going to cover. That includes easements, CC&Rs, which pertain to the HOA, any other restrictions that the city has. Most people do not, and I'll tell a quick story because I think it's super important. I had a couple, and the couple was actually lenders. So they had been in the business. They were familiar with the, how the transaction would go. They bought a house. They had big dreams. They were going to redo the backyard, build a pool. We were sent them the CC&Rs. We had sent them the plot map, any easements, any restrictions. We closed. They were excited. They got a pool guy. They started to dig. They had already done the plans. They had pretty much had a nice amount of money already invested in this when they realized that there was an electric line that ran underneath the property where they wanted to build their pool. So now they're out money, but unfortunately that was something that was in the exceptions, and it was also something that was supplied to them. And if they would have just done a little bit more due diligence at the beginning, they probably would have caught that before they had gotten that far. So that's why I say exceptions, pay attention. They're very important. If you don't understand them, you have questions, call title. We're happy to explain or go over those documents with you.
Awesome. I think that covers everything then.
There we go.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
I don't know. I don't think so
No?
right now. But really, I mean, if you're going through the process and you do have any questions, we work with everybody involved in the transaction. So really, if you want a one-stop shop, you can call and say, hey, what's this? Or I don't understand this part of the contract, or I don't understand title. We can really answer any questions from front to back on the transaction. So utilize us to, help you to understand.
Awesome. I appreciate having you here today. Thanks, Gina.
Thank you for having me.
All right. If you guys have any questions for Gina or for myself, definitely let us know, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.
Thank you.